friends, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm going to be doing a little Q&A. So as a bunch of you all noticed already, a couple of weeks ago I cut my hair and I decided to finally update my profile picture. It had just been a couple of years, especially over on Instagram, and I decided to do a little question box in my stories to do like a little AMA. It has been a little while since I did one of them on my Instagram stories, but I've never done one on my YouTube channel and I always thought it would be so fun. The majority of these are nail related, but there are a few personal questions too. So without further ado, let's just get into your questions. So starting with the nail related questions, the first one is fave collection at the moment. Mine is Cirque's jellies, and no surprise, that's mine too. I have freaking been loving those jellies. I needed to like put them to the side because I feel like I just wanted to use them so much. And there definitely have been some cute collections that have come out too. I mean, Holo Taco's most recent Cookies and Crumbs bundle is really adorable, but I feel like as a whole, it just does not trump Cirque's glazed collection this year. I am just still absolutely loving that one. The next question is, when did you first get into nails and why? I would say the first time that like I bought nail polish or like, you know, went to a salon for a manicure was like in high school. And I started my Instagram back in 2015 when I was graduating college, which is so crazy to think it's been almost 10 years. Back then, I was following a bunch of nail content creators and I just had so much fun with it and I wanted to be a part of that space too. I never had the intention or just like the thought that I could become this like big influencer or anything. It was kind of crazy to sort of like stumble into that, especially over on Instagram. My YouTube channel is still really new, but yeah, it's just always been something I wanted to get into because it's just so creative and just so fun. This next question says, if you could only ever use one formula, what would it be? And I'm sure so many of you already know the answer. It's shimmers. I love shimmery polishes so much. It's easily my favorite finish. So much so that I have 2 whole videos that are like over 30 minutes long just talking about my favorite shimmers in my collection. I'm really glad that the question doesn't ask anything more than that, like if I could only wear one color for the rest of my life, because I would not be able to choose. So yeah, even though I do have a lot of other favorites when it comes to finishes, like flakies are really beautiful too, shimmers are always going to be where my heart is. This next question says, how do you choose colors for a season? I don't even know where to start. Also, love the swatch wheels, which thank you so much because I just shared my spring favorites this year. I feel like generally though, when it comes to picking colors to wear, I usually go by like the very typical kind of answers, like pastels in the spring, brighter neon shades in the summer. Fall and winter are a little bit trickier because they both are just like darker colors in general, but I think I go for like warmer shades in the fall and then cooler shades like blues and grays in the winter. I think it could also help just keeping an eye on what brands are releasing because usually there are like a lot of trends, like a lot of similar colors. So for my spring picks, I feel like I went for a lot of like lighter shades, you know, that are either sort of pastels or softer where they're like the jelly kind of finishes. But as you can see, I have a decent amount of like brighter pops of color just because I was craving those. I'm sure some of these could work for summer as well, but I feel like when I look at some of these polishes compared to other like yellows or blues in my collection, those look brighter. So I would consider those summer shades, and then these like slightly less bright ones are the spring ones for me. I don't even know if that really makes sense. It just makes sense in my mind where I can like look at a color and just immediately associate it with a season. There definitely is like a lot of overlap, and especially if you know you're not a seasonal wearer at all, it doesn't even matter. Just as long as you're happy with whatever you're wearing, that is all that matters. So this next question says, current fave mani essentials, open-ended on purpose. And I pretty much have already talked about my mani essentials in my video last year, where it's like my nail care routine and I share all of my favorite products. They basically are the same. When it comes to base coats, I really love ILNP's Lockup base coat. I feel like it is just so long lasting. It's not one I reach for often these days because I usually am just switching up my nail polish really frequently, but I was impressed with like the wear time that I had with that base coat. I also do really love love Mooncat's smoothing primer. I actually maybe have said that I didn't like it in that video, but it really started to grow on me, especially having that like pink tinted base color. I think it's just so nice. It's not one that's super long lasting, at least not on me, but again, that doesn't really matter for me. Then when it comes to sheer polishes, as you all know, I'm sure my favorites are mainly from Cirque, like Chiffon, Odette, Kismet. I feel like they're just such beautiful shades, like where it's a your nails but better kind of look. Also generally are very good with like their formulas where they're like streak free, they self-level nicely, but assuming you have the wide paddle brush, because if you have the skinny one, I can see it being like a little finicky and not the best to work with. My favorite top coat is hands down Mooncat's Speed Demon. I feel like that one just dries so freaking fast for me. There have been times where I will paint my nails, use that top coat, wait literally like maybe 5 minutes at most, and hop in the shower and my nails are not dented. So not that I advise doing that, but I don't know, it just works like so well for me. So I really love that one. And the only other essential I can think of is for cuticle oil, and my favorite is Cuticle Buddy because I love her oil blend so much. I'm pretty sure there's like 7 different oils, but I don't even remember all of them, but they just feel so good. I'm not usually one to like hand lotions because I hate that kind of like greasy feeling. And so with my Cuticle Buddy oils, I'll just like kind of spread the oil down my fingers and I still get compliments on my hands looking very moisturized and all that. So I really love it. And she also has a ton of great scents too that I just really love. I think that's it as far as essentials go, but if I did miss something, just let me know. So this next one isn't exactly nail related, but like kind of. It says, do you know your season for clothing and do your favorite nail colors fit into it? Unfortunately, I don't know my season. I've seen so many of those videos on TikTok where if you aren't familiar, there are these like color analysts who will basically hold up these like different color fabrics against your face, and some of the colors will either like really compliment you and make you glow, while others will just kind of wash you out. And so there's this whole like, you know, different palettes, different seasons, and I just cannot figure it out by myself what season I am. I feel like they just all look the same. There have been a few videos I've seen where it's like a very noticeable difference, but for me, I just haven't been able to figure it out. I definitely would love to though, because I would be so interested in seeing like how that fits with my nail polish style. I definitely am a little picky with certain shades of colors, but then with other colors that I really like, it's hard to like draw the line between saying, oh, I like this because it looks good on me versus I just like the color. I feel like there's a lot of overlap there. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't know, but I wish that I did. So now these questions are gonna kind of go into like content creation, sort of. This first one says, how do you balance polish with life? I love your vids so much, but they seem like a lot of work, which thank you so much. It definitely can be time consuming to work on videos. I feel like at this point I have gotten like a good, efficient workflow going on. Even though the videos that I put out are usually like 15 to 20 minutes long, they definitely can take like a couple of hours to work on between swatching, editing, doing my voiceover. So it is kind of a lot. And definitely when it comes to like a work-life balance, I do content creation like full time. So I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I can like make my own hours, and that's really hard. I definitely do thrive off of having like structure to my day, but when I'm the one in charge, it's kind of hard to be like, okay, I'm gonna be productive from this time to this time and do exactly this. So that ends up kind of bleeding into like, you know, outside like regular office hours. Back when I first started my channel, I would be working late until like 11 p.m., sometimes even midnight, working on videos for the next day. But that really was just like poor time management on my part. I definitely have gotten a lot better with it, where I basically do try my best to treat it as a job, especially with like the work hours. So that way it doesn't interfere too much with my life outside of it. Next question is, what's your favorite type of content to make? And for YouTube, I think I would say my seasonal favorites. I don't know if it's just because it's like so recent that I shared mine, but I mean, how can I not love doing these? Like, I love creating these swatch wheels that are just so pretty. It's just so nice to have it at my desk for like easy inspo, but it is hard to narrow down because I don't know if you know, but I have a lot of favorites. So being able to talk about like my favorite colors, my favorite finishes is also just so fun in general. But yeah, I think I would go with my seasonal favorites just because it's so so satisfying, like creating your own palette. For Instagram, I think I would say my favorite type of content is definitely doing nail art. Not so much the tutorials, because the filming process is just not super easy for me. Usually when I'm painting my nails and doing like intricate nail art, I'm just like so close, and when I'm recording I have my phone in the way, and so it's just like so awkward like trying to paint around it, that I'm just like, this is so annoying, I don't want to do this. But I do love doing nail art like for photos and stuff, so that is definitely my favorite to make over on Instagram. So these next two questions basically go hand in hand. The first one says, what advice do you have for someone who is thinking of starting their YouTube channel? And then the second one is, what's the most challenging thing about running a YouTube channel? I feel like I don't have great advice when it comes to starting your channel, because I kind of just jumped into it. While it is something that I have been wanting to do for years, I admittedly didn't spend a lot of time like researching what to do to get started. I pretty much had like a general idea of the type of content that I would want to make, like swatch and reviews for collections, comparison videos, and like maybe nail art tutorials here and there. But it kind of stopped there, and I didn't really look into like the proper ways to film and edit and record and like all that kind of stuff. That's maybe the best advice that I have is, if you're thinking of starting a channel that's like in a particular niche, like nail polish for example, maybe like consume that specific content so that way you can see like what other people are doing, how you like it, if that's something you want to do, or what you would do differently. Obviously a lot of people were already doing like swatch and review style videos, but personally I wasn't seeing a lot of comparisons, especially for indie and boutique brands, and that's something that I always was curious about. So naturally I figured other people would be curious about that too. So I feel like I kind of was able to fill a gap in the market, so to speak. I'm not really sure how well this would like apply outside of nail polish collection reviews, but generally I think that consuming the type of content that you want to make is going to give you a better understanding of what you want to do and how you can do it differently. Then as far as the most challenging thing about running a YouTube channel, that is tough. There's definitely a lot like where I guess I would say it's just time consuming, and between filming, editing, doing a voiceover, an intro and outro, even when it comes to like replying to comments, I feel like that's something I've been struggling with lately, where I really pride myself on responding to every comment that I get, but the past couple of weeks I definitely have been sort of falling behind, which is expected. You know, the more that your channel grows, the more comments that you'll get. And I'm always asking you guys to leave your thoughts down below so we can chat about it. But I'm only one person, and so it's hard to actually chat with everybody. I guess though, now that my channel's like a little bit more established, where, you know, I feel like I found my footing, maybe the most challenging thing is kind of balancing the type of content that you want to create versus the type of content that people expect to see. Like I mentioned already, swatch and review videos are super popular, and especially with me doing comparisons, I feel like a lot of people do come to my videos specifically for that, which is great. Like I'm happy to be able to help, but it sucks when I think of other video ideas that I would want to do that aren't like centered around these boutique brands, and sort of second guessing myself because I don't want to spend so many hours working on a video that's not going to do well. So it does suck sometimes, because at the end of the day, like YouTube is this whole numbers game. You're literally rewarded with more ad revenue with the more views that you get on your videos, and so it can really be discouraging when you spend so much time working on a video and it just doesn't perform the same. Like most recently I was super nervous about my best picks for March video, because it kind of was like an extended version of my Zodiac series that I did, and even though I loved doing that video and I know there were people that loved that series too, it just didn't perform the best as the other videos I was doing at the time. And so you kind of have to balance like what people want to see versus what you want to do. Obviously at the end of the day, it's still my channel and I'm still gonna do what I want to do. So I guess maybe the most challenging thing about that is just not being upset by people who don't want to watch. And the last nail related question that I have for now is, are you still enjoying all the nail content that you're creating? Hope you're doing well, which thank you. I hope you are too. And I definitely would say yes, that I am still enjoying the content that I'm making, even though sometimes it can be overwhelming when there are just like so many collections coming out and feeling like the pressure to review them all. I still get just such deep satisfaction from doing the comparisons and being able to help people see the differences and to decide if they actually need the new collection or if they like something older. Ultimately, it comes down to being able to help people, and I'm just happy to do that through this hobby. And I have been trying to sort of like diversify the content that I'm making, where before it was really a lot of swatch and reviews, some nail art tutorials, a lot of favorite styles of either colors or finishes or whatever. But I also really love just sitting down in front of the camera and answering questions. I've just been really having fun with my videos so far. So finally, getting into the more personal questions. The first one is, how old are you? And I am 31. I'm gonna be turning 32 in October. The next question is, do you own any pets? And sadly, I don't. Ryan and I live in an apartment that's not pet friendly. I did have pets when I was younger though. I think my very first was a parakeet that I named Fluffy. Sadly, he passed away and was replaced with an identical parakeet that I also named Fluffy. I also did have a third parakeet that my grandma caught with her bare hands when we were at my younger cousin's soccer game. For whatever reason, the bird was just loose, and so she just snatched it and put it in her pocket and then gave it to my dad. That one was called Sunny. And I also did have a dog too for about like 15 years, and her name was Daisy. I definitely would love to have pets again one day though. They are just so special. The next question is, do you watch anime? Because I think I saw Attack on Titan in your living room in a picture you posted. For reference, they're probably talking about these keychains that I have on like our TV console area. Attack on Titan is my favorite anime, and I want to say that yes, I do watch it, but it has been a while, admittedly. I feel like the last anime that Ryan and I watched was Chainsaw Man, but that was like a couple of months ago. We were super late to like actually watching it, and I have been meaning to watch season 2 of Vinland Saga because I really love the first one. So I have watched anime before, but I don't really keep up with like a lot of the new stuff that's coming out. Some series that I have watched and really love are Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, Ava, Trigun, and Berserk. That definitely was another favorite. The original one though, not like the CG one. So if you have any recommendations that would like fall in line with those, definitely leave them down below. The next question is asking about favorite video games, and I definitely would say Final Fantasy VII is up there, especially the original, but we have been playing Rebirth recently, and oh my god, I don't even want to think about it. Without getting into spoilers, we were playing last night and got up to the gold saucer the second time, and I was crying. I also do really love cozy games like Animal Crossing New Horizons. It was my first Animal Crossing game, and I sadly didn't get into it like when the pandemic started. I feel like I started playing it like a year into it. Sadly, a lot of people were like already over it by then. I also used to love playing Minecraft too. I sadly don't have a PC anymore, and Ryan did get it for me on his PlayStation, but I feel like whenever I play, I just am one of those people who gets like headaches from the camera moving too fast. I don't know if it's because it's just like a much bigger screen or something, but yeah, unfortunately I tend to get headaches, so I don't really play as often. This next question is, do you believe in ghosts? And yes, I do. I am so scared of them. Like I'm such a scaredy cat. I really do startle so easily, but I'm such a big believer in like the supernatural, the paranormal, and it terrifies me. I'm just like, no, thank you. Please, like, respectfully stay on the other side of the veil. I do not want anything to do with you. Like, any loud noises that I hear, I'm just like, oh my god, like, it's a ghost. I definitely would like to believe that not all of them are scary or like bad. I really am fascinated by that stuff, but I am also just so scared where I'm like, you know what? I don't need to know anymore. And the last question that I have for now is, what is it like dating a Peruvian guy? I was just cracking up at this one so much. I'm not sure like how serious it is, but I figured I could answer because I'm kind of an expert. Ryan is actually the third Peruvian guy that I've dated. He's definitely the best one. The first two, not that great, but admittedly, it was back in high school. I was also not that great. So, you know, you live and you learn. I thought I wasn't gonna date another Peruvian guy because of those bad experiences, but here I am now. And honestly, it's really great because Peruvian food is delicious. Ryan's aunt also had moved back to Peru about a year ago, so it definitely would be nice to visit her and see Peru, brush up on my Spanish, and actually eat like authentic Peruvian food. I am just so excited for whenever that happens. So that wraps up my little Q&A. I guess it's not so little, it probably is a long one. I didn't even get to answer everything. I got a ton of questions, so if you do want to see a part 2, let me know. I definitely would want to share it on my community tab so that way you can ask me questions here on YouTube just in case you don't follow me on Instagram or if you miss my stories. So let me know if you'd be interested in a second part. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video because I had so much fun answering your questions. So make sure to leave me any and all thoughts that you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.